Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, like I say, you've seen some of the mixture of some of the conversions I've done with Toyan engine. And I've seen they've had a new Xpower. I actually emailed them once or twice. Once was about a clutch and once was about their gearbox. Now I do see the gearbox is, I do believe it was on either Engine DIY or Sterling Kit, the forward reverse gearbox they had for that thing. They don't give you no information on it. It's like the whole thing's a mystery. Everything's a mystery about these engines. So the reason I wanted to make this video was because I don't know if anybody has picked up on what was, you know, they got the emails from Tom from Toyan. All of a sudden we got to go to Kickstarter. You know, and there's all these other sites, you know, that you can jump on. It's kind of like they're taking control of their marketing, maybe. I don't know, but there's the packages were so confusing on, you know, what you got with the package, and if you got, it seemed like the package with just the start kit with the radiator stuff was more than the FSL 400. I mean, you know, and it's basically half of that engine. So I want to go over some pros and cons because I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but I'm going to try to put a link up for their video down below. But like one thing I did notice, they do show very quickly as they assemble the thing. It's basically half of the FSL 400. You know, and you guys said your 4-cylinder, you know, with the side carbs and all that. However, the carbs are the same, the basic, you know, design's the same. This looks like they chopped the engine in half and only used half of it. So it's water cooled, which is cool. But I don't know why they didn't like introduce that first, maybe. But maybe they thought the 400, you know, would be a better choice. However, the first thing I noticed in that was they do have somewhat of a center saddle for the crankshaft. But there is space between it when you look inside. If you see the video, watch the block very carefully. Now, from my understanding, from what I've done is I've compiled a bunch of information together on those crankshaft failures that they had. And I noticed mine broke when I was trying to start it. And then I had a couple other people hit me up too, and theirs broke when they were trying to start it. And then we all, I think, come to the conclusion that they hydro-locked. Once they hydro-locked, you know, the starter motor is just going to keep turning that crank, and that crank, you know, just going to hit, that piston's going to hit. There's no support, and none of the bearings just going to snap the crank in half or bend it. And if it bends the crank, it still may run, but for how long? But like I say, I looked at that, and now I'm seeing a lot of upgrades on that engine, which is cool. But I mean, I was going to jump on there, and I'll be honest with you, I was one of the first ones to jump on there and throw my hat in the ring. And then I seen all these crazy different packages and all this crazy different marketing. I mean, not for nothing, but it ain't going to be out until October anyway. So yeah, and I think they've done, like, I don't know, last I think was like over 40,000, you know, commitments on Kickstarter, which is cool, you know. But I don't know, I think everybody has to understand what Kickstarter is all about, because Kickstarter, I mean, you know, me and my son looked into that a long time ago when I was going to build something, he was going to build something, and we didn't feel comfortable with it. For one reason was basically they don't have to give you a product. They can give you a promise. You buy what you're buying as a promise that they could give you one, and then you're going to have to withdraw, and then down the road, if it doesn't show up, you're going to have to get your money back. And here's the deal about Kickstarter. Most people forget because it takes so long. Sometimes a year will go by on Kickstarter and nobody will get the product. They forget all about it, you know. And they've paid for it, and like for instance, my son bought a wallet one time, and it was like a year went by, and all of a sudden, like, we were talking one day about Kickstarter, and he goes, "Oh my God, like, I totally forgot I paid for that wallet." And so he emailed the company, And it still took another few months for them to, you know, it's a money grab is what it is. So, I mean, hey, if the company had some problems, I heard they had a debacle with that crankshaft. Their marketing was all over the place. And if Toyan, if you're listening, okay, you have a great product, all right? Listen to people like me and others who have converted this product into something, all right? Because we have dealt with these engines just as much as you have, basically. Except we've had to make them work, and we had to put them out there on videos. You know, we have to make these things run and be reliable, so we don't look like, you know, monkey asses out here. And so we spent our research on it too. So I was expecting more from them. I was expecting maybe an email. You know, now I have been asked before on my thoughts on products. For instance, Mona from Sterling Kit hit me up and asked me, you know, what I thought about the new dual overhead cam engine. And I didn't really have one in my hand, but I could see that it had a lot of possibilities there. The only drawback I seen was the RPM range versus the clutch. Okay, it's a 7,800 RPM at the top. The clutches, you know, most of those bigger clutches don't engage until around 8,000, you know, 6 to 8,000 anyway. But, you know, I mean, it was cool that they hit me up and asked for my thoughts on it. Now, I do get, seriously, dozens of offers every week from other companies that want to throw batteries at me or cleaning products or, you know, like stuff that I feel is, you know, it's not going to benefit you guys at all. All right. And, you know, yeah, I could cash in on it, but I don't. So it's not that I'm married to these Toyan conversions. I do have tons of other projects going on, like my Aussie V8 and all that, which I'm still, you know, waiting to come up with some more bucks for parts for that. And, you know, it's this is an expensive hobby. And to try to do some crazy build like every month or even, you know, a week for that matter is going to be tough. So, you know, just to keep from putting myself in the poorhouse and to keep the entertainment value up for you guys, the Xpower engine looks like it's going to be a great engine. Okay, if I could call up tomorrow and get one, I would do it. Okay, but the problem is to call up, get on Kickstarter or contact them, put in the money for that, wait till October. You keep waiting and waiting and waiting. You know what I mean? Like, really? You know, it's just, you know, it's bad enough that, you know, the reason I bought 2 of these L400s was because the first one I got right away. I mean, it was seriously within a week that I got the first engine that I got, or second engine, I'm sorry. The first one took over a month for me to get that engine. The shipping on this stuff is insanity. I mean, I'm still waiting for parts that I ordered over a month and a half ago. And I mean, they're here in the country, but they're not moving fast at all, you know, and it's just, it's frustrating. When I can get on eBay and I can pay, for instance, that V400 right there, I can buy one for $1,700 and have it in 4 days, okay? How come when I buy one for $1,300 from a company overseas, it takes me almost 2 months to get it? I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I would even pay shipping on some of the stuff. I've actually paid a tip, like a $50 tip, to buy them guys a beer. And I've actually paid expedited shipping. And guess what? It still takes over a month to get the stuff. I mean, I don't get it, you know? I don't know if the stuff's on back order or if they don't have it. They shouldn't offer that expedited shipping, or they should refund your money. So some of these projects have come slow. And getting back to the Xpower, I mean, okay, if I could buy one and have it within a couple of months, I mean, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? At least I would know where I'm getting one from, you know. But there's no guarantees. It just sits there in limbo until you get a tracking number. And the thing is, this hobby moves so fast. I'm surprised that there's still Toyan engine builds out there, because there is a group of people, a small group, that's all we do. We do the Toyan stuff, and you know, it's pretty cool. It's, you know, it's mind bending because you got to sit for hours and hours and figure stuff out. You know, like for instance, this one here has the forward reverse transmission from Sterling Kit, the metal one, and I put a 2-speed on in the front of it, and I hooked it up to the factory transfer case that was in the Capo JK Max. And this one here actually has the Kyosho Nitro Tracker transmission with the 2-speed gearbox in the back. So, you know, and then get this out of the way. Now this one here has their 3-speed transmission with reverse. As you can see, there's the 3-speed transmission with reverse, got 2 servos to shift it. And I just have it into a regular transfer case. I bolted to the back of it because the high-low transfer cases that I really wanted were on back order, and they just came back in again. So, but like I say, this one here. Now, here's the deal about, they have a great engine, okay, but it's a do-it-yourself thing. So when you're doing it yourself, you don't know what direction to go in. They don't give you no guidance whatsoever. They give you an engine and say, oh, you can put it in this, or you can put it in that, okay, which is cool because you can, okay, but I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, because if you would spend, okay, for instance, this build right here cost me over $4,000, okay, just for this, because of the truck itself was like almost $2,000, and the motor was $14.99. You know what I mean? So, and then all the stuff I had to buy to convert it in, like fuel tanks and start systems, and you know, it's just, you know, and electronics. It was crazy, and so this added an extra almost $2,000 to the bill just to put that V4 in there. I would like to do more on the V4. I really would, because I think they're cool engines. But at, you know, $1,400, $1,500, I'm you know, it's just too much to experiment with. So anyway, now this one here was my latest build, you all know. Now I did cut down the gear ratio. I put a differential in the front, which helps this thing steer greatly. And this one here is running the Nitro Tracker 2-speed with a forward reverse gearbox. You can buy them still in pieces. They're a very simple transmission. You just got to buy like a bearing kit, and the housing comes on a tree with, you know, your shift stuff and all that. And then you buy your upper lower shaft, and they do offer an aluminum gear set for them, and I have them in here. And so, you know, and your range to buy that gearbox is probably going to be, I think, around 65, 70 bucks to buy it in pieces and put it together yourself. Yeah, you'll probably have to come up with some stray hardware, you know, like screws and stuff to put it together. But the 3-speed with a reverse from that you can buy is how much, like 139, 140 bucks or something. And the 2-speed, okay, forward reverse, is what, they're around 100 bucks, you know, 80 to $100. And now the new one that they come out with in their new, with the Xpower in that semi truck, you know, I think that one's like over $100 too. But it's an enclosed gear case, and which I'd like to get one of those, but you know, how much can you spend on experiments? You know, I mean, if these companies wanted this stuff to move a little faster, they would send guys like me, like gearboxes and engine kits and stuff, to try to mate them together so they can come up with a kit themselves. It would probably eliminate a lot of questions from them, and they would probably get a ton more sales, because seriously, back in the 80s, when I was trying to do these conversions on the Bruiser, trying to put a nitro engine in a conversion they basically, there was nothing out there, nothing. You had to take pieces from one to another And here it is, all these years later, we're still doing the same thing. We're taking pieces from one kit, putting it in another, because nobody has standardized none of this stuff, you know. And so my videos are on to see what works best. And yes, I've only been doing it for a few years, but my God, I probably have, you know, I swear to God, I probably got over $10,000 just in Toyan stuff alone. You know what I mean? And that I have to buy out of my pocket and keep putting together, and you know, and then add-ons and things that don't work. You know, what do you do with it? You can't throw it on eBay. Who wants to buy a greasy old nitro part that's been altered and all cut up? Nobody wants it, you know. So anyhow, so like I say, the Xpower is a wicked cool engine. I just don't feel that the marketing is going in the right direction on it. Okay, so they're funding it now. They've already met their funding goal. Okay, and now it's gone to the point of stupidity. Right, so the goal goes so big that they're never going to reach fulfilling all these orders. I'm telling you right now, because I mean, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people out there. For one, who don't know how to put one of them engines together, and two, there's going to be design flaws, because that happens with every manufacturer out there. It doesn't matter how perfect you make your stuff. Sometimes there's just that component that fails, you know what I mean? And it's not their fault, you know, it's not the machine's fault, it's just the metal's fault. And they're going to have to deal with that stuff. So, I mean, when I see where I can get on Sterling Kit and order one and hopefully have it within like a couple of weeks, or banggood.com, you know, or eBay, that I don't have to finance my house to get it, I'll buy one, you know. I do have projects I would like to use that engine in, but the thing is though, I don't get they don't send me no sample engines or nothing, so I gotta wait to convert them over. And a lot of, seriously, I mean, there's probably a handful of us that are very, very dedicated to that company for those engines, and you know, they should probably focus on those guys first and make sure they get everything they need to promote their product. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But because I'm not going to be around forever, you know, to keep doing these things out of my pocket for them, you know. But like I say, the Xpower is a, you know, it looks like they revamped the block a little bit on it. The crankshaft is shorter on the thing. Now, the L200s, they run very, very well, and they do get hot, you know. So the cooling aspect of that is a big bonus for that. So, and like I say, the carburetors that they have, if you notice in the video that I'm going to give you a link to, there was one video, I don't know if it's in that one, there was one he's trying to like get it started, and it kept stalling and stalling and stalling, and I was thinking to myself, this is the first time I ever seen a company put out a video like this that shows like the thing is, you know, has an attitude and it won't run, you know, after but then again, maybe they were showing their real life functions, because that's what they do, you know. But I noticed when he was trying to rev it, the carbs were sticking back and forth, and all because of the needles that go in here for your idle adjustment, okay? It's very pointy, and there's a little like a machined area in the center bowl inside the barrel, and they stick back and forth, and now you got 4 of them together on here, and they stick, and then it's basically like giving somebody a Ferrari engine, okay, that's never put an engine together before, and says, here's your 4 individual carburetors. Now you have to synchronize all these and tune them too. So there are ways of synchronizing those carburetors, but it is very complicated, and you need some equipment to do it. And unless you're an old school nitro guy, you can pick it up with a tune of your ear. You'll be able to hear the difference of it firing and not firing and bogging, and you'll know when you take off in it, you know. Like, I knew the second that I lost that velocity stack on that, because the tune changed on it. It sounded like it something had dropped, you know, like the power dropped, and then it took off again. And so that tells me when it came off, it blocked the airflow in that one cylinder, and it just fumbled for a nanosecond and then took off. So I kind of knew out in the yard where to walk out there and pick up that velocity stack. You know, so, but you know, when you're first getting a model engine like that and you assemble it yourself, it's you know, it's intimidating to say the least, and you know, and then tunability problems, and you know, you got this, you know, you're selling a dream of, yeah, you can build it yourself and put it in whatever you want, but we're not gonna give you any ideas of what you need to do. You know, you're stabbing in the dark at that point in time, unless you get on YouTube and look at one of my videos, or Steve from RC Tanks and Trucks, or Steve from Black LA Mass, or Johnny Q90. You know, or there's so many of them out there, you know what I mean, that have done these videos religiously, you know, and do the conversions with the 2 speeds, but you know, and I answer a lot of questions for people who can't get theirs running, and who you know, are trying to figure out gear ratios and all that stuff. So I get a ton of like private messages from people, and you know, like, and it takes up a lot of my time, but you know, I want them to have the opportunity to build their dream RC because they spent the money on the stuff. So like I say, with the Xpower, great engine, weird marketing. I'd like to have one to see what gives it the Xpower, because it's almost the same exact engine as the L200, except it's water cooled, you know, and it's half of the L400 basically is what it is. So yeah, they got 16,000 RPMs. Okay, so that when they seal the valves up, that they polish the valve, that they change the camshaft, they don't give you none of that information on how they created that power. And you know, when you still get that, you still do not get a clutch with that, you know. Now the L200 is probably at the very limited end of those small little 8-skill nitro clutches. Okay, once you go to the L400, you need a bigger clutch, especially if you're running four-wheel drive. Okay, this has locked axles, front and rear. All right, and I'm running the V400 in this, and it's, you know, it's hard on that clutch because the clutch is too small, and it's not getting enough RPM to engage that clutch, and it's getting so much resistance from the locked axles on the front alone, let alone the rear and the weight. So we need bigger clutches, Toyan. We need a gearbox that works with 2.2 tires or taller. That's what we need, you know. Basically, with this thing here, when I put it together, I said, okay, I looked up the Kyosho Nitro Tracker, and I looked at the tire size, and I looked at it. The only thing that I missed on that whole thing was it has front and rear differentials. When you see that Nitro Tracker take off, and I don't know what's a 15 or 16 engine in it, and it screws. That thing's flying, jumping, and ripping dirt, you know. You take that whole drivetrain, you put it in here with this thing here. Now this is like a bigger engine, and it has a lot more torque. This thing should do the same, you know. And it's a disappointment because, like, you don't know, like, why ain't it working? How come it ain't working? Well, then, because I realized I had way too much drivetrain bind in it, and especially the taller the tire, which is, I think the Nitro Tracker tires are close to this. You know, it's like I had taller ones on it, and you know, I had the G-Airs on it, which is a lot taller, you know what I mean? And it really screwed the gear ratio up, but it looked badass, you know? So, but it is what it is. So I put the differential in it, and what a difference. If you go and see the run video, the one I'm posting first, I got a run video though. I just posted this video, okay, of this thing out running today. It's really hot. I ran like a tank of fuel through it. That's when I lost the velocity stack. So, you know, you'll see it's a total difference in running from the first video that I had put out, you know. But anyway, give me your thoughts on the Xpower. I mean, like I say, it's a cool engine. Don't get me wrong. It's just kind of come out a little too late, I think. You know what I mean? Because the last prices that I seen on it, I think it was $3.99 if you get on Kickstarter. Okay, just get the basic engine itself. Okay, the kit. However, when you buy like the accessories, it's something like, you know, almost $700, $800. You know what I mean? I can buy one of these 4-cylinder for that kind of money, or I can go back to the air-cooled FSL 200. You know what I mean? And for what, $389, I think it's the cheapest I've seen those on. So it's all cost versus mystery. You know, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, yeah, there's a communication barrier there somewhere. I wish they would, you know, whatever their marketing is must work for them, but it doesn't work for the rest of the world. And I've had so many people from so many different countries hit me up confused on this and that, and how come it's like this, and how come they do this, and why does it take so long for the shipping? And yeah, I mean, you know, like I say, I don't know what to tell them, you know, so I just kind of stay away from it, because I'm going through the same thing. I have the same questions. So if everybody's listening out there, Toyan, Sterling Kit Engine DIY, maybe, you know, give me an explanation, shoot me an email, and let me know why it takes almost 2 months to get an item, you know, because when you're building something like that, 2 months goes away, a lot of things happen in 2 months. And you know, that item was either a wasted buy, or things have changed in 2 months and that item's outdated. So this is when you're in a business like that where you sell, you got to sell now, sell while it's hot, not, you know, 6 months or 8 months down the road when after it's hot, because it doesn't work that way. And then don't ask like 7 times the price for it either, because that doesn't work either. I would have all of these engines, the V4s, if I could. Because they just come up with a brushless starter on the thing that goes under the intake manifold, just like Johnny Q90 had made, which is cool. However, it's still $1,500 for that engine, and it's, I don't know, that's crazy. I mean, you know, I don't know how rich some of these countries are out there, but $1,500 for a small engine like that, you know, the technology is awesome. This engine here is a much better engine for half the cost. I don't get it. And it's a, you know, it looks like it had a lot more machine work than that one did. But anyway, like I say, you guys shoot me a message, give me your thoughts on it and everything. I'm going to stop rambling here, and you know, we'll see what this Xpower engine, you know, turns out to be, I guess, you know. So, but anyways, you guys have a good weekend, man. Adios.